What's going on, everyone? Cam from Fight Octave here, and today I'm with Charles Boston Strong Rosa. What's going on?
Chilling, man. Just got back from the equipment check for the BKFC Ice Wars event, fighting on Friday. So, getting locked in.
You're taking on Reed Krasowski. How do you feel about this fight?
Oh man, couldn't be more excited. I feel like this is what I was born to do, man. Hockey and fighting, the two things I'm best at, and the two things I love. I get to put them together and kick off historical event. I mean, this is the first ever BKFC Ice Wars event on ice at the Ameris Arena, home of the Stanley Cup champion, the Florida Panthers. All the celebrities are going to be in attendance. Florida Panthers will be there. Many more. It's just going to be a special night. I couldn't be more excited.
Of course. And in your last bare knuckle win, which was MMA bare knuckle, you had a big submission win. How do you look to build off of that momentum into this new Ice War fight?
Yeah, man, I'm on one of the best win streaks of my entire career, man. Since leaving the UFC, I'm on a 6 fight win streak with all finishes. I finished every opponent I faced since leaving the UFC. Won a world championship, defended a world championship with the best knockout of my career. And then my last fight in BK, in Gamebred, George Masvidal's promotion, I took on, the number one ranked guy from New England, Pete Barrett. And, I was able to put away a tough UFC veteran. So, I'm fighting the best guys. And, man, I just really, really feel awesome, man. I'm at probably the best I've ever been in my entire career, man. I had a great run in the UFC, 10 years, but this is the best part. I'm really starting to enjoy it. I got a newborn baby, beautiful wife, got married, and have a kid now, and just, man, this is the best part of life for me so far.
That's good. And obviously, this is the third bare knuckle Ice War event that is taking place. How do you feel about the sport, and what growth do you see in the sport?
Man, I think the sky is the absolute limit. You heard Joe Rogan mentioned it the other day on his podcast for the first time. It's backed by BKFC, which is the fastest growing sport in the world right now. David Feldman, you see Conor McGregor on there. They've really been boosting this thing up and getting it big. And it's growing, man. They went from a small company until doing shows worldwide, all over Italy, all over the planet. And that's what I want to do, man. I think the hockey fight base, I mean, there's no person that goes to a hockey game that when a fight breaks out, it's not the best part of the night, more than goals, more than anything. And we're taking the best part of hockey and we're putting it to just strictly the best part, like hockey fights. And we're doing it at the same arenas. So they have that same energy, the same Jumbotron, the same fans, the same electric energy. And it's going to be, I really think that this thing is going to blow up and it's going to be one of the biggest sports in the entire world, man. I think that this is going to be something like up there with the UFC at some point. And there's so many MMA shows. Like everyone loves MMA and fighting is awesome. Everybody loves seeing fights everywhere in the planet. It's universal language. You could speak Japanese, but you still know when a fight breaks out what's going on. So it doesn't the rule sets doesn't kind of, separate people. Everybody knows two guys going in there, one guy's coming out on top. So I really think the sky's the limit. And it brings kind of a different demographic of fans, like everyone, get the MMA fans, you got, all different types of fans in other sports, but this is a pretty unique one. I mean, hockey fans are special, unique fans, and it's pretty cool to bring, you know what I'm saying?
100%. This is a very different way and form of fighting that people have never seen before, obviously, other than hockey events. I'm sure it's been different for you as well. How have you prepped differently for this fight than you have in, per se, MMA fights or even
Yeah,
the bare knuckle fight?
no, it's different, man. And that's the thing is like, you got to take into consideration like this isn't an MMA fight. It's not a boxing match. I'm not on my feet. I'm on skates. I'm on ice skates. So first things first is getting on the ice. You're not going outside and shadow boxing on the lawn or going to a gym and going on the mats or going to a boxing ring. You're going on ice. So it's not easy to get ice every day. I'm able to get, go to the Boca Raton ice rink and I get sessions every single morning. So, I'm paying $150 every morning for the ice. So I put a lot of money and time into this camp. But to go to the question you asked, if I want to be the best at something, and I learned this in MMA, and that's why I had so much success fighting in the UFC and all around the world, is I find the best. Whoever's the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world, whoever's the best wrestling coach, best boxer, that's who I look for. I mean, I just sent my brother out to Holland. He's in the Netherlands. My little brother, Lucas Rosa, top prospect in the world, gonna be making his UFC debut soon. His kickboxing was a little bit sluggish. We needed to get it sharper. So what do? We sent him to Andy Sauer, who's one of the greatest kickboxers of all time in the Netherlands, and he went and sent him with him for 2 months to train Dutch kickboxing. So I'm sure he's going to come back a better kickboxer. But same with me. I try to do ice wars. I hit up Sean Thornton, Stanley Cup champion, former Bruins enforcer. He lives down in South Florida, and I was able to get with him and learn some tricks of the trade. So it was really cool to be able to network with him, connect with him, and get to train with one of my legends in the sport, Sean Thornton.
100%. That's awesome. So, have you ever had like past skating experience in your life? Have you ever played hockey or anything like that?
Yeah, that's what everyone was asking. I think this kid that I'm fighting too, he's like thinks that I'm just like a UFC fighter coming over to a hockey fight. Like, man, I played hockey since I was could walk. I played hockey since I was 3 years old. Always my best attribute of hockey was the skating and the fighting. Like, I was a good skater. I played until college. I played on Johnson and Wales college team. I actually got kicked off for fighting, so I never really was able to play in an actual game for Johnson and Wales because in practice, the tryouts and stuff like that, I would gotten a lot of fights, and the coach, they don't really it doesn't fly. You can actually get suspended from academic school for getting in a hockey fight in sports, which is crazy to me, but it just wasn't fitting for me. But I loved hockey. I wanted to be in the NHL. I wanted to be an enforcer on the NHL Boston Bruins. That was my dream as a kid. But sometimes sometimes real life surpasses your dreams. I've been able to have a great UFC career. Got to walk out in the TD Garden, set the record for most all-time wins of the Boston Garden. Walk out in a Bruins jersey with my name on the back, and knock out the number one guy in New England, and get interviewed by Joe Rogan after on the jumbotron. And it was, I thought that was it. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. But I really feel like this is even cooler. I get to go to home of the Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. I get to be, where I've lived in South Florida for the last 15 years with all my fans after I have my whole fan base and done what I've done, and to be able to be a superstar. I'm the star of the show here. I'm the top guy that they have signed, and I'm the highest paid guy on the roster, and they're putting all their chips in on me, and that's why they booked this arena was for me. So it feels pretty cool to know that the promotion had enough faith in me to sell the place out to book me and book a big venue like the American Bank Arena, the home of the Stanley Cup champs.
Oop, had a little glitch.
No, you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm good.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
In your opinion, what is the main difference between a bare knuckle fight and an MMA fight? Does the gloves really affect the difference, or what do you believe in that?
No, I think it's the same thing. I mean, MMA, UFC fight, and my game bred fight was the same exact thing. I'd say the only difference is the grips. Like, if you get hit, obviously with the bare knuckle, there's a higher chance you cut the guy. But you put a little Vaseline in your face, like, which is legal. They put Vaseline so the punches slide off. If anything, the gloves just get in the way of your grips. Like when you make grips and you're grabbing, so like sometimes you can't get as good of a grip in your guillotines and your chokes. So for me, I'm very, good submission artist, like submission specialist that actually help my grips. So I think bare knuckle is, it's the same thing, man. This is a combat sport. The two guys trying to kill each other. If you got a little piece of, equipment in the way to, less harsh in the blow. But man, if you get punched, with Mike Tyson with a glove on or without a glove, it's gonna probably it might not make sense to people listen, but it's gonna do a similar amount of damage. I mean, you're gonna get fucking hit. It's gonna hurt. And it's the only difference is probably the cuts and maybe hurting your hand. But I've been training 15 years and I know how to punch the right way to protect my hand. I've been in a lot of street fights, a lot of hockey fights, a lot of bare knuckle fights, a lot of MMA fights, a lot of UFC fights. And man, this is what I've been, my body's been cast iron hardened to do. So uh, I'm ready.
Another interesting part of it is the 1 minute rounds. What is your opinion on the 1 minute rounds? How do you feel about them? And does that affect the way you will go out there and fight?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I wish the rounds were longer because there's more of a chance that, like, if you slip and then you get up and then you slip again, like, somehow a guy that isn't as good as another guy could possibly steal around or something. Like, where in MMA, it's such a long fight that, like, as time goes on, the cream comes to the top. But sometimes, somebody could get a little lucky and maybe land a good punch or something. But and then the fight's over and you're like, oh fuck, man, it was kind of close. Like, but yeah, like 1 minute means it's you're going to war. You guys are getting down, and you got to throw as many. Whoever throws more punches is going to win the round if the other guy doesn't drop. So yeah, we're getting right to it. It's right in each other's face, bare knuckle in front of each other, swinging away. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
100%. When the BKFC Ice Wars first came out, and they first, I don't know how the opportunity came about, but if they contacted you or you contacted them, like, what did you think about it at first? Were you like, this is
Dude, I
crazy,
was
this
like,
is
this is the
nuts, or were
greatest.
you like, this is awesome?
Oh, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm like, they literally gonna have real hockey fights. Like, and then the biggest part is it's backed by BKFC. Like, I guess you could say the only thing that would be as cool is if the UFC did UFC Ice Wars or something. But these guys got the blueprint. They got the cameras. They got the service. They got the backing. They got the blueprint to make this thing great. So, man, David Feldman is awesome. They got Conor McGregor with them. They got some of the greatest guys in the sport, and they learn from the mistakes of the UFC and the promotions not that the UFC makes mistakes, but like they've taken what they did and they can make it even better. And that's the crazy thing about the sport and about life is you take something that's you can see a product, and if you see it can be improvements on it, you can take that and make it even better. And I think that's what we're doing here with the Ice Wars. It's gonna be the next step up, and when you're gonna do things the right way, and it's gonna go to the top.
After this fight, how do you see yourself building off of the BKFC Ice Wars fight? Do you see yourself coming back to this? Is this something you want to do after this?
Yeah, I signed a multi-fight deal with him. There was talks with the UFC about possibly fighting at the White House. I'm still able to fight in the UFC or fight MMA in my contract. So even though I'm signed to a contract for BKFC Ice Wars, that means I just can't go fight in like Russia for like Russian Ice Wars. I can still go fight MMA, go fight boxing, go do jiu-jitsu competitions. Basically free agent in the MMA aspect of it and the boxing aspect of it, but I just couldn't fight for another promotion for BKFC for hockey fights.
Gotcha. So they give you a lot of flexibility within the contract.
Yeah, I mean, I worked that into my contract. I had one of my good friends, my guy Lex McMahon. He was, a sports agent for some of the greats like BJ Penns or Rory McDonald's. One of the guys took me to my first UFC fight, and he was my agent for a long time. Great guy. The guy, he's a former Marine too, so I do the Armed Forces entertainment trips where we go train the troops. So he's been a great friend of mine, and he's been helping, manage my career and work out a good deal that makes sense for me and makes sense for the promotion.
And on Reed Krasowski's background, have you ever seen anything behind him? Has he ever had a fight that's been online? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's kind of what they're doing. Like, that's the thing is everyone's like, oh, who is this guy? Like, we can't find any fights that he's had. I mean, this is also my first sanctioned hockey fight, and it's his first sanctioned hockey fight. Like when they found him, they're like, well, we gotta find someone that had some type of background. But the thing is that's different that people don't take it. This isn't like he's coming over and we're doing like, oh, we're taking the gloves off, we're putting bigger gloves on, or we're doing something. This is on ice skates, dude. So he's a hockey player. I'm a UFC fighter. Who's gonna win, a hockey player or a UFC? And hockey players are tough. You got to give them that. Like if you're a hockey player, you're a tough kid. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about it. There's no kids that are pussies that are playing hockey. Like, I mean, maybe there's a few out there that got some good stick handling skills, but they usually got an enforcer watching their back. You know what I'm saying? But if you're a guy, if you played hockey in Canada, for sure you're a tough kid. But there's a lot of tough kids out there, but there's a lot of tough guys. But you don't see a lot of guys fighting in the UFC just because they're tough. It takes a lot more than that. So, that's what he's going to be running into. I'm sure it'll be tough. Hopefully be able to take some shots and maybe he can even give a shot. But will he be able to stand, for the whole duration of the fight and go through the rounds?
100%. And can you let fans know where you can watch this fight and how you can watch this fight?
Yeah, there's you guys go to bkfc.com. They have the awesome link that they do all their fights on. They just had the Mike Perry versus Jeremy Stevens the same way you could watch that. It's free, so you don't have to pay for anything, no pay-per-view. Also, if you're not familiar with the links and the apps and the smart TVs, just go to youtube.com and type in BKFC Ice Wars 3 and it'll come up and you guys can watch it for free on your phones or on your TV or your house, wherever.
Awesome. Any last messages to Reed Krasowski before you head out onto the ice?
No, man, dude. I mean, I respect anybody that laces him up and steps out there and puts on a show. I mean, I think he's stepping into deep waters, but I think more. I got a message for the fans to come out, don't blink, and watch me knock this guy out, and set off a historical event. And I think this is gonna open the doors for big things. The whole world is gonna see it, and man, I'm gonna welcome a new sport to the planet, and it's gonna be awesome, man. So everybody tune in, check it out, bkfc.com. Everybody check out my Instagram, Charles Rosa MMA. I'll post a highlight clip after. And yeah, be sure to follow. And then also check out my, my charity, chuckysfight.com. It's a charity dedicated to knock out substance abuse. And you guys can donate to that. It's always for a good cause, helping people get into treatment centers and stuff that don't have the funds to. I lost my two older brothers to drug overdoses. So we started this charity to help, people and people struggling with addiction. So, I'm fighting for something, greater than just like my stardom or being a superstar. Like I really want to help people and make, be able to, build this charity and build things to be able to help people. So, I'm also fighting for a cause, so.
100%. Charles Boston Strong Rosa taking on Reed Krasowski, BKFC Ice Wars 3. Make sure you guys check it out.
Awesome.
Thank you for
Thanks.
joining the show.